Mining, what's going on? Prices and jobs, conversations about mining. Hi, Jess. How are you going?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you, Andrew?
Yeah, really good. Thank you. So today, I think you were going to ask me a question.
I do. I was going to ask you a question, which I know that you'll be able to answer, and everyone will be interested to hear. What is going on in mining? Where are all the jobs? How are the prices looking? What's happening? What type of jobs are we chasing at the moment?
Okay, so I have made a few little notes on this because I know I was going to talk to you about this today. And so, what a lot of people don't realize is that if you have a look on my phone, which I've got all the prices loaded up on, most people will be surprised that gold is $3,113.14 an ounce at the moment, Australian. And that's a huge price for gold, and everybody's making bucket loads of money around at that price. If you have a look at the coal price, which I looked up this morning, it is $97.75 US, which makes it about $149.58 Australian. Now,
Wow.
at that price, and just in the last couple of weeks, I've had a lot of people from middle of Queensland and around the Hunter region, and a guy from Wollongong yesterday all call me up because their coal mines are shutting down. And the reason that their coal mines are shutting down is because a lot of this coal was being sent overseas to go into baseload power. And a lot of those power stations around the world, they're all actually built next to coal mines because it makes sense on it. And when COVID happened and they needed to fire it all back up straight away, the easiest option was just to tap us because we had a lot of stuff going at that stage. But at the price that it is at the moment and what you can throw it in for, the coal mine next door to your power station, a lot of people are going back to doing their own, using their own coal next to their power station. And that's why the prices drop significantly. It's just demand. And there's a bit of a different thing going on with lithium and nickel. The nickel price has fallen down completely, and the lithium price has fallen down as well in the last 12 months. But that's got more to do with forward sales. You can go and Google BHP and Tesla. Elon panicked because the nickel price, I don't know if people remember, but about 2 years ago, it went up to well over $50,000 a ton. And that's because everybody was worried about supply. So what happens when the price goes really high? If you're, say Jess is a big manufacturer making a lot of batteries, and I've got a couple of nickel mines, Jess is going to come to me directly and say, I want 16,000 tons of nickel a year, and I'm prepared to pay you $35,000 a ton US for it. And we agree on that price, so that withdraws us out of the market. And that's what's happened around the world. The Chinese have tapped the nickel mines in Indonesia. That's where they're getting all their nickel for their batteries. Like I said, BHP is supplying Tesla, and other companies around Australia are supplying directly other companies overseas. But what's happened is there's a number of Australian mines that weren't pre-sold. And if you weren't pre-sold, then the current nickel price is $24,000 a ton. And at that price, you're not making money. You're not going under, but you're not making money. So if you're not making money, what's the point? And a lot of mines like Savannah's, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago, was put into care and maintenance. So what normally happens is the price goes way down, and then as demand picks up again, the price normally goes back up pretty high, and then they start reopening the mines again. And it's the same thing with lithium.
And how long does that kind of trajectory take? So at the moment it's dropped down. Is it kind of a couple of years it will slowly?
No, normally it depends on demand, but normally it's a 6 to 12 month thing, because typically, like if you're buying, like I said, nickel, if Jess is buying nickel off me, you're not just going to buy just enough for yourself. You're going to buy a little bit more, so you got a bit of a fudge factor in it, because you've had to pay so much over the time, so you want to protect yourself. And so that's why it takes a little bit of time for the demand to pick back up again. But once it does, the price accelerates quite quickly because there isn't a lot of supply, because everybody's already nailed down their supply. So it's really quite violent. And like I was saying to you before off camera, in the early 2000s, I worked at a couple of gold mines that the gold price was only $550 an ounce, but we were pre-selling it for $950 an ounce. So almost double what it was. And that was just an agreement so they could get physical supply. And that's what they're after. I'm going to share a screen now, and I'm going to make sure that this works. So this is a mine. This is Australian maps of Australia, the mining one, and it's a picture of all the mines around the country, all the gold and base metal mines that are going into batteries. And as you can see, there's lots of stuff in Tasmania, middle of New South Wales, top of Queensland. There's some sites in Northern Territory. There's some big ones in South Australia that are always looking for people fly in, fly out. And then there's bucket loads of work over here in WA.
Yeah. And are these existing sites that
Yeah, these are all the operational ones. So the green is for go. If you have a look at our thumbnail, they've actually, our thumbnail used to have savannas up here, or it still does for some of the pictures. Used to have, and they've taken it down because savannas is now in care and maintenance.
Yeah.
So they're all the active ones, and you can see that there's just heaps of work around the place. And the issue is that the driverless trucks with iron ore, so they've turned driverless, a lot of it. And like I said, with the coal mines, it's the price. With gold, you know, like everybody's trying to ramp up their gold mines at the moment. Everybody's trying to increase production. I was reading the paper up at Dome the other day. Sandfire Resources, a lot of people don't realize, you know, don't know the company. It's a small gold producer. They did 65,000 ounces for their December quarter, and they bought it in at a landed price of about $1,850 a ton. So your landed price is your whole inclusive price, everything that cost you, that's it. And so, you know, their selling price was over $3,000 an ounce. So they were making, you know, $1,100-$1,200 an ounce per ounce that they make. And for their 65,000 ounces, they made just a little bit under $100 million just for the December quarter. Yeah, and they're a small gold mining company that pretty much nobody's heard of, let alone one of the big ones like Northern Star or Goldfields or Newmont or somebody like that.
And so if I'm a resident of Queensland or New South Wales and I've been itching to get into coal, what should I do? Should I rethink my strategy?
I'd definitely be rethinking my strategy, just purely because, you know, what ends up happening when mines shut is that they've got a lot of over experienced people that they can use. And the new starter jobs dry up, which they have, you know, already. And because they've got an oversupply of experienced people, the wages sort of go down. And, you know, it's the opposite in the gold mining industry at the moment, that they're having to put the wages up because they're having to, put on production, and they've got the fat there to do it. So that's what they're doing. A lot of the, you know, you've still got a lot of nickel mines and the lithium mine, the big lithium mine. I talked to one of the guys I know in at Burncut, the big lithium project that they've got, Liontown. Apparently that's all going ahead. That nobody's said anything different. You know, it's all still forging ahead, because a lot of these projects, if they've pre-sold the lithium or they've pre-sold the nickel or they've pre-sold the gold, you've got to get it out of the ground and supply it, because if you don't supply it, then you've got to go to the market and buy it yourself and give it to them. And that can get really expensive.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that's what's going on. If you want a job, education's the key. We do a 3-step plan package that Jess does the resume for, and you get the DIY package from underground training to do that. But, you know, that sort of education dials you in for all these jobs on all these mines around the country. All these are hard rock mines. Some of them might be, a few of them might be open pit, but majority of them are underground. And, you know, the rules are the same on the surface as they are underground. So if you learn the rules for underground, you know the rules for the surface, and it's pretty easy to transfer that stuff across. But we've had a number of people come over. James, who came over from New Zealand a few weeks ago, that we were talking about in the last couple of videos, he hit Perth and he got offered a job in Kalgoorlie and did the medical a couple of weeks ago, and is getting ready to start work. It's just a matter of giving them what they want, somebody that knows how it all works.
It is. And it's just having all of your ducks in a row. I always say, you know, make sure that you educate yourself and you can go into those interviews. If you score, your resume is amazing. So you get through to one of those interviews and you've got no idea what you're talking about or really what the job entails. Having that education is key. You need to be able to walk in there or be on a Zoom call and be confident about what you're talking about, and for them to feel confident that you're going to come in there and you're going to only take, say, 2 or 3 weeks to train instead of 2 or 3 months. Definitely the education is key, and your resume and cover letter are definitely important as well. If you have any questions about that, or you have been applying and getting knocked back and you're not really sure where you're going wrong, Andrew or I are happy to answer any questions. If you have any, definitely reach out.
Yep. Definitely. It's a really good time to get in at the moment. There's a lot of
Yep.
work around. It's just not where people think it is.
Yep.
The media don't do anybody any favors. They're still concentrating on coal and iron ore and panicking about lithium and all that sort of stuff instead of looking at, what's going on in gold. I don't know why the gold story is not more of a story. I mean, you'd think at $3,113 an ounce, that would be a big story because that's huge money. I mean, it virtually means that our gold industry is a $35 billion a year industry and climbing. Whereas, sort of 10 years ago, it was an $8 billion a year industry, when the price was a lot lower.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a great time to get in. I know you probably also see stuff on the media about, oh, the mining industry, there's nothing happening in it. And it's so hard to get jobs in there. It can be hard if you don't know how to prepare yourself or, what you should be applying for or where to look. And so if you need some guidance on that, we can definitely help. And, like Andrew has said earlier, we've got people getting jobs kind of every week. We've got people calling us back saying, I got a job here, I got a job there. So there's definitely work out there if you set yourself up properly, educate yourself and know what and how to apply for.
Yeah, and you don't have to have a labouring background. We help a lot of people from diverse backgrounds.
Yep.
Like we've had a professional poker player get a job, lots of people coming from childcare, lots of people coming from hospitality. A guy that was running a pottery studio got work about 18 months ago, just totally different backgrounds, lots of people from the finance world as well. Because the truth is, once you know how the mine works, you've actually got something to offer them. And that's what they want.
Yeah. And especially with the, the 50-50 split that you would have heard everyone talking about, in the last 1 to 2 years, it was highlighted a lot within the media. They are really pushing for women to get into mining. So if you are a woman and maybe you're a hairdresser or you've worked in a bank or you've worked in a corporate role, please don't think that you're not going to have anything to offer them because, again, like Andrew said, if you educate yourself and you have your resume set up correctly to get you through to that interview, it's now is a better time than any for you to apply because they want that diversity in the workplace. And yeah,
Age isn't an issue either.
Age is not an issue. And that is one question I've had this week. I've had several times, I'm 55 or I'm in my late 40s. Is that an issue? No, it's not an issue. I know
the oldest person we got a job is in the last 2 years has been 68.
Yeah, I got it 66 was my oldest in the last 12 months. They're looking, I think, I know on the recruitment side of things, we're looking at older candidates because you have more financial responsibility. You usually have more maturity, most people anyway. And you're you've set your goals and you know what you want to do, and you're probably going to, they could get a good 5-10 years out of you. And you're going to be reliable, you're going to turn up, you're not going to be blowing shifts or calling in sick or, asking for ridiculous leave requests. I definitely, please don't ever let your age or your gender or having no experience at all in the industry or even in a physical job, like Andrew said, now's the time to get in there. So if you have any questions about any of that, reach out to either of us. We're happy to answer.
Definitely. And thanks for the question. And if you've got any more questions that you'd like answered, please send them through. And if you could like and subscribe the channel. Thanks.
Thank you.